Hi students, good evening. Okay, so இன்னைக்கு we'll start with where we have left in the session 4. So session 4 நம்ம என்ன பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம்? We were looking at the idea of the applications of the cumulative force. So main பாத்தீங்கன்னா like I said, right, in need if we are getting questions on Coulomb's law, most likely that we'll get questions based on the applications of that cumulative force concept. Okay, adula we have just completed in session 4, right? Session 4 la we have completed the idea of uniform distribution of equal vectors. So it's an important principle. Another, if you are having equal vectors, equal vector enna theriyuma, like it may be in terms of force irukala, illana it can be like we'll see some more types of vectors in this session only, right? We are going to discuss about a vector called as electric field. So this electric field that we are going to discuss, right, is also going to be vector. Okay, like whenever we have vectors with equal magnitudes and we distribute them in the space uniformly, apadi distribute panna, like we looked at various example, right? So for two equal magnitude vectors irundha vechukonga, we arrange them uniformly. How one will be this side, one will be that side. Apdi arrange panna, then we know that they both will be what? Anti-parallel. So the resultant of them will be what? 0. And the madri, if we have three equal magnitude vectors, we arrange them like the trigonal planar. So they are pointing to the corners of what? Equilateral triangle. Okay, wow. So they are pointing to the corners of equilateral triangle. Apdi arrange panna, then what will be the resultant of them? The resultant of the forces will be what? 0. Okay, wow. And the madri, if you have four equal magnitude forces, we arrange them like they are pointing to the corners of square. Illana, we arrange them like they are pointing to the corners of the tetrahedron. Apdi arrange panna, then what will be the resultant? 0. And the madri, if you have five equal magnitude forces, we arrange them like they are pointing to the corners of the regular pentagon. Apdi arrange panna, then what will be the resultant of the forces? 0 agum. And the madri, if you are having six equal forces, paranga, if you are having six equal forces, we arrange them uniformly. Uniformly ananadi, they will be arranged in a space like they are pointing to the corners of what? Regular hexagon. Solunga, what is this regular hexagon or regular pentagon? Regular polygon and sonna, the sides of that polygon must be what? Equal. Ella side or value will be what? Equal. So if you have a normal pentagon, right, 5 sides irukum, but they may be different values. Regular and sonna, what is it? All the 5 sides will be equal. And the regular hexagon and sonna, all the 6 sides will be what? Equal. Okay, va? So apdi arrange panna, like if you are having the uniform distribution of equal magnitude vectors, then the resultant of these vectors will be what? 0. This is a very important principle. Other than last we were looking in the session 4. So today we will start with another idea called as principle of superposition. Name paakradhukku it might look something complicated, but it's a very simple idea. Okay, don't get frightened by the name. So what is it called as? Principle of superposition. Name vidinga. The name might look little bit complicated, but I'll tell you what this means. See, if you are having, first I'll take you example that we are familiar with. I'll take the example with mass. Okay, if you are having a mass of 10 kg, or if you are having a mass of 10 kg, you know how you can assume? We can assume that there are two masses. One is 4 kg, other is 6 kg. Illana, we can assume it like what? Two masses. One is 1 kg, other is 9 kg. Illana, we can assume it like three masses. 2 kg, 3 kg அப்புறம் 5 kg. So what is it? If you are having a mass, we can think that okay, the mass is divided into multiple parts. If you are having a mass, right, we can think that the mass is actually what? We are having only 10 kg. But how you can think of the 10 kg? We can think of the 10 kg like what? Maybe a 4 kg plus 6 kg. Elena 1 kg plus 9 kg. Or we can think of it like what? 2 plus 3 plus 5. You can think of various combinations. You can think of the mass to be what? Various combinations. இப்படி நாம் assume பண்றோம் தெரியுமா? This kind of an assumption is what we call as superposition. இது எங்க வரும் தெரியுமா இந்த word? This word will come in the waves chapter. என்ன chapterல வரும்? Waves. Remember, if you have two waves, okay, so say for example இது ஒரு wave நினைச்சுக்கோங்க. There is one more wave. It can come in different pattern. When they both come together, what do you say? We'll say that the waves are getting, there is a superposition of the waves. Okay, so which means what? If you are having a 10 kg mass, we can assume that the 10 kg is contributed from different parts. Okay, so and the concept there is what you call as what? The principle of superposition. Why are we doing it? எதுக்கு நம்ம பண்ணணும்? So why should we assume? So 10 kg இருந்தா why should we assume it like 1 kg plus 9 kg இல்லனா 4 kg plus 6 kg? ஏன் தெரியுமா? This is a very important tool for solving these MCQ type of questions, especially NEET la. Okay, it's a very important tool to solve the MCQ type of questions. How it is going to help us to solve the MCQ type of questions தெரியுமா? It can, if you are using this principle of superposition, it will actually simplify the problem. It will be simplifying the problem by bringing symmetry. என்னது? இந்த principle நம்ம கரெக்டா யூஸ் பண்ணா, so we should know actually how to use it. Generally ஒரு statement மாதிரி, it's not like reading the statement and moving on. அதுதான், see, in our regular the normal board exams and NEET level பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, what is the main difference? It is not just about understanding or definition of this superposition principle. எப்படி நம்ம இந்த principle apply பண்ணணும், அதுல தான் you have to spend some time. So what is it? நம்ம அந்த principle கரெக்டா apply பண்ணா, then it is going to simplify the problem. How? By bringing symmetry. அதுக்கு நம்ம என்ன பண்ணணும்? We should be able to correctly apply the principle. Correctly means how we will know which is the correct way to apply the principle? We have to solve some problems. அப்பதான் நமக்கு தெரியும். Okay, so for that, right, I'll take you to one sample question. இதுல இருந்து we will try to understand எப்படி இந்த principle கரெக்டா apply பண்றதுன்னு சொல்லிட்டு பாருங்க. 5 corners of regular hexagon, side length L, are having charges Q each. So என்னது? We have a regular hexagon. என்ன இருக்கா? There is a regular hexagon. Okay வா? The regular hexagon la 5 corners are having a charge Q. இங்க ஒரு Q, இங்க ஒரு Q, இங்க ஒரு Q. So 5. Okay வா? 6th corner la என்ன இருக்கா? minus Q. So I'll write with a different marker. பாருங்க. 6th corner la என்ன இருக்கா? There is a minus Q இருக்கா. Okay வா? What will be the force acting on a charge capital Q? Same nature. Same nature என்னது? Small q is positive means capital Q also will be what? Positive. Okay. Where is it? What will be the force acting on the charge capital Q kept at the center of the hexagon? எங்க நம்ம அந்த charge வச்சிருக்கோம்? We have kept it at the center of the hexagon. Center ல இருக்கா. Okay வா? So the charge capital Q is at the center. Okay. Now, before we solve this question, right, one more point I want to tell. In a regular hexagon, if you look at what is the distance from the corner to the center, so from any corner to the center, right, the distance will be same as the side length. For a regular hexagon, the distance from corner to the center will be what? Same as the side length. Okay, if you want, you can prove pannalam. How do you prove it? If you look at that in the what is the total angle around the circle? 360 dana. It is divided into 6 parts. So appo in the angle enna varum? 60 varum. Okay va? So inga parunga, this distance and this distance are same. because both are center to corner. அப்ப என்னது, this angle is theta means this should also be theta. So பாருங்க, sum of the angles in a triangle should be what, 180, right? So 2 theta is equal to what, 60. அந்த பக்கம் போனா it will be minus 60. So 180 minus 60 எவ்வளவு, 120 தானா? So 2 theta is equal to 120. அதிலும் theta என்ன வரும், 60 வரும். I'm just trying to show you how the proof. Theta 60 என்னன்னு தெரியுமா? பாருங்க இந்த triangle மட்டும் பாருங்க. So this angle is 60 already. இது என்னது, 60. This is also 60. In a triangle all the angles are 60 means what, it is the equilateral triangle. Okay va? So apana, this is the side length of the hexagon means this distance also will be what, L. This distance also will be what, L. So this is a property of the regular hexagon. Enadi, in a regular hexagon the distance from center to any corner will be what, same as the side length. The distance from center to any corner will be what, same as the side length. What is the side length or the value? What is the side length in this case? L, which means center length, if you are looking at distance to any corner, right, adoda value enna varum, it will be same as the side length. Okay va? So if you already know this result anna, neenga derive panna thevilla, because these things we have to keep in mind sometimes. Then over sila problems when you are looking at these common geometrical shapes like in the equilateral triangle agatum, or square, or a rectangle, or this regular hexagon. Regular hexagon is a very common shape. Okay va? So ipo parunga, we are going to talk about this principle of superposition. Enna theriyuma, imagine inga minus q ku badala if you are having a q, think about it. So in place of minus q, if you have a q ani vechukonga, appo enna varum, all 6 corners are occupied by the same charge. Okay va? All 6 corners are occupied by the same charge. Center la we have a charge capital Q. So each of them நம்ம number பண்ணலாம், 1 2 3 4 5 6 and சொல்லிட்டு each of them will repel because the distance is same, right? From every corner the distance is same, means what, each of these forces will have the same magnitude. அதோட வேல்யூ என்ன தெரியுமா? This is the magnitude of each of the forces. அது F1 ஆகட்டும், F2 ஆகட்டும், F3, F4, F5, F6. Okay va? But you look at it, how they are distributed. Every, they are all distributed like they are pointing to the corners of a regular hexagon. How many are there? Paranga. So how many are there? There will be 6 forces. All are like what? All are like pointing to the corners of the regular hexagon. So upon the total value enna varum, because we already have the symmetry principle, right? If you have 6 equal forces, they are all pointing to the corners of the regular hexagon. So adoda total value, right, add panna, if you are adding them like vectors, f1 plus f2 plus f3 plus f4 plus f5 plus f6, adella add panna enna varum, it will be what, 0. Okay, so that is something that we already studied. In the symmetry principle we have studied about it. Okay va? So if we have equal magnitude vectors, adoda resultant value will be what, 0. Okay va? But adukku what is the requirement we should have? In place of minus q, we should be having q. And that the 6th corner, right? 6th corner la enadhi, we are having a minus q. Actual problem we are having minus q. But minus q ku badala if you are having a plus q, right, then that condition is going to be satisfied. Ipo paranga, clear paranga what we are going to do. This is the principle of superposition. Minus q, how I will write, just check it. I will say minus q is made up of 2 parts. One is a q, rendavathu minus 2q. Pannalama? Minus q. So this is what is the principle, like and the idhila nama panna madri, 10 kg is equal to what, 2 kg plus 8 kg. Okay, I told you, right, eppadi nama and split pandradhunu solittu, how do we get the idea? Based upon our requirement. Namakku endha madri requirement irukko adu base panni da we are going to split it. Inga parunga, minus q I am writing as what, 2 parts. One is q, rendavathu minus 2q. Idella simplify panna varum. What is q minus 2q? Minus q dana. So totally nama charge value change பண்றது கிடையாது. We are not changing the charge value. q and minus 2q add பண்ண என்ன வரும் minus q தானா we are not changing the total charge value அது அப்படியே இருக்கா just நம்ம அந்த split பண்ணி we are writing it as what தனித்தனியா q and minus 2q இதனால என்ன ஆகும் பாருங்க this minus q we can forget it now because we have already written minus q as what combination of the two these two charges right என்னது q and minus 2q எங்க இருக்கா both of them are at the same corner it is just that and the minus q க்கு பதிலா we are assuming there are two charges அவ்வளவுதான் so இப்ப என்ன தெரியுமா for a moment just keep this aside for a moment just keep it aside and இது மட்டும் just keep it aside observe this and the 6 charge oda combination அதுதானே நம்ம already discuss பண்ணிருக்கோம் these 6 charges will apply 6 forces on the charge which is kept at the center okay what will be the resultant of all these 6 forces என்ன வரும் because they are what equal magnitude forces which are uniformly distributed in space upon the total resultant value will be what 0 which means the force because of all these 6 charges acting at the center charge capital Q will be what 0 appo nam adella we can just forget about them because they are all adding up to what 0 so f1 so now in our problem we are not having 6 charges surrounding the center charge ethni charges irka 7 charges why in the corner irukra minus q right we have split it as what tanitaniya q and minus 2q so totally we are having surrounding line irka 7 charges are there in the surrounding of the center charge we are having 7 charges adula because of the 6 charges 6 forces already we found f1 f2 f3 adella add panna enna varum because of the symmetry principle enna varum they all add up to what 0 okay va appo verum and the f7 mattu pending what is the pending force only that force because of that particular 7th charge enna theriyuma what is that 7th charge inga enna 7th charge means what it is that minus 2q charge dana enga iruka it is here so this is 7th charge so now we have to find the force because of that minus 2q charge okay va so that is the only force that will be remaining which will be acting on the center charge so what will be the force magnitude paranga what will be the force magnitude k into modulus of q into modulus of minus 2q by then the distance another l okay va paranga what is it modulus edutha it will be what absolute value so 2k qq by l square this is what is the this is the total resultant force acting on the charge at the center this is the total resultant force acting on the charge at the center okay va so how are we approaching this particular question eppadi nam idu approach pandrathu we already have some understanding of that symmetric distribution already namak and the symmetric distribution oda understanding irukka if you are having equal magnitude forces which are uniformly distributed in space okay va so if there are equal magnitude forces which are uniformly distributed in space then the resultant of the forces will be what 0 the resultant of the forces evlo varum it will be coming as what 0 okay va adu already nama session 4 le paathirkom now we are adding one more aspect to it another if the given charge arrangement is not symmetric totally symmetric kadiyadu but we can somehow change this into symmetric by using this principle another principle of superposition ore oru vishayam na vechukonga the charge arrangement right they will not give symmetric ore or corner la mattum they will make some disturbance or they will make some change so we use that split charge and solala illana superposition solla sometimes you know people commonly use the word splitting charge anu solluvaanga splitting charge enadhu here we have minus q at the 6th corner right adu apdiye how are we splitting it q and minus 2q edunala if we are having a charge q at that 6th corner also then that 6 forces which are like equal magnitude forces uniformly distributed. Although the total resultant will become what? 0, which means the net force will be only because of that 7th charge. The net force will be only because of the 7th charge. Purida? So this is what is called as the split force model, or sorry, split charge model and solada illana the principle of superposition. Okay, so what we saw before is the symmetry, uniform distribution of equal forces. அது முடிஞ்சது. அதுக்கப்புறம் if in one corner we see some change, அப்ப டக்குனு what should be the remembrance? எது நமக்கு ஞாபகம் வரணும்? We should be remembering that okay, we should use this split charge concept, which is also called as what? Principle of superposition சொல்லலாம். ஓகேவா? So we'll practice பண்ணுங்க. Even I think in one of the previous year NEET we got a question. இதுல கிடையாது, we got a question on the symmetry principle. We got a question based on the symmetry principle and we got a question. Okay, see, whenever we are completing a chapter, right, நீங்க என்ன பண்ண தெரியுமா? You should be going back and completing, or at least அந்த chapter முடிஞ்சதுக்கு அப்புறம் you should go back and look at what are all the previous year questions that have come in the chapter, and are you able to solve them? Chapter முடிஞ்சதுக்கு அப்புறம் you should be able to solve them. இல்லைன்னா எங்கேயாவது there is an issue and we need to rectify it. Okay, so the பண்ணலன்னா then you know the entire preparation will not be in the right track. So ஒரு chapter நீங்க complete பண்ணதுக்கு அப்புறம் you should be able to solve. நான் 100% சொல்றது கிடையாது, but maximum problems you should be able to solve on your own. Okay, at least ஒரு சில questions என்னன்னா if you see that approach, அதுக்கப்புறம் you should be able to carry on with the further step and get the answer. அந்த மாதிரி இருக்கணும். இல்லைன்னா there is some issue, அதை நம்ம rectify பண்ணணும். ஓகேவா? So practice questions guys. So அடுத்தது என்ன தெரியுமா? There is one more vector principle called as Lami's theorem. என்னது? Lami's theorem. See, இதெல்லாம் என்ன தெரியுமா? All these are very important for the NEET examination point. ஏன்னா especially on these concepts, right, நமக்கு we will not get numerical questions. So we will not be required to do the steps and get the answer. These are all called as what? இது என்ன தெரியுமா? This is one more symmetry principle. So Lami's theorem is what? One more symmetry principle. நம்ம full problem solve பண்ண வேண்டாம். If you see that there is this Lami's theorem arrangement or this Lami's theorem is satisfied, then we will have a result. Okay, எப்படி வருதுன்னு சொல்லிட்டு we look at it. பாருங்க. So Lami's theorem is a concept for getting resultant of எத்தனை vectors? 3 vectors. இதுல பாருங்க, I did not say 3 equal magnitude vectors. அப்படி நான் சொல்லலாம். I just said what? It is a concept to get the resultant of 3 vectors. Need not be equal. The vectors need not be having the same magnitude. Okay வா? இங்க பாருங்க. We are arranging the vectors as co-initial vectors. Co-initial vector என்ன தெரியுமா? We'll have all the vectors having the state point, same starting point. Okay va? அப்படி arrange பண்ணா we call them as what? Co-initial vectors. So if you are arranging them as co-initial vectors, what is the angle opposite to the A bar? Idanadi alpha. What is the angle opposite to B bar? Beta. What is the angle opposite to C bar? Gamma. Okay va? அதெல்லாம் நம்ம நோட் பண்ணிக்கணும். So what is the angle opposite to A bar? Alpha. What is the angle opposite to B bar? Beta. What is the angle opposite to C bar? That is gamma. Okay. Now we are going to discuss about the condition. Lami's theorem condition. If A vector of magnitude small a vechkonga, divide by sin alpha. A divided by sin alpha. Okay. And the ratio of the value is equal to B by sin beta. Is equal to C by sin gamma. Correct? What is the condition? Is the condition if and the A by sin alpha ratio is equal to B by sin beta ratio is equal to C by sin gamma. Then these 3 vectors, the 3 vectors, right, can be arranged as the sides of the triangle. Eppadi arrange பண்ணலாம்? The 3 vectors can be arranged as what? The sides of the triangle, if this is satisfied. Generally we cannot arrange any three vectors are given means we cannot arrange the three vectors as sides of the triangle. அப்படி arrange பண்ண முடியாது. If this condition is satisfied and the a by sin alpha value is equal to b by sin beta value is equal to c by sin gamma, அப்படி இருந்தா then we can arrange, இங்க பாருங்க, we can arrange the vectors as what, as the sides of the triangle in order. எப்போ பாருங்க, like look at this, this is what, இது என்னது a, okay, இங்க பாருங்க, this is what b, அதுக்கப்புறம் இது என்னது c. So like that we can arrange the three vectors as what, sides of the triangle taken in order. If you have three vectors arranged as sides of the triangle taken in order, right, the total value will be equal to what, a plus b plus c will be equal to what, 0. If you have three vectors which are arranged as sides of the triangle in order, அப்படி நம்ம arrange பண்ண முடியுதுன்னா what is the resultant of the three vectors? It will be 0. எதுக்கு தெரியுமா? Remember the triangle law property, if you add a bar and b bar, what is the resultant? A bar and b bar resultant என்னது? As per the triangle law property, it will be equal to what, closing side of the triangle in reverse order தானா, closing side of the triangle in reverse order. Okay, so நீங்க observe பண்ணா this is what, closing side of the triangle in order, this is what, closing side of the triangle in opposite order. So in the a bar plus b bar we can write it as minus c bar, because it is the third side of the triangle in opposite order. So in minus c bar add பண்ண என்ன வரும், 0 தானா. So we have three vectors arranged as the sides of the triangle in order, அப்படி arrange பண்ண முடியுதுன்னா then what it means, the resultant of the three vectors will be equal to what, 0. okay வா. So அதுக்காக what is the condition, this is the condition, this is important, என்னது, this is what is the Lami's theorem condition. If you have three vectors which are represented like that, co-initial, the angle opposite to a bar is what, alpha, angle opposite to b bar another beta, angle opposite to c bar is what, gamma. If a by sin alpha value is equal to b by sin beta is equal to c by sin gamma, if that condition is satisfied, if that condition is what, satisfied, okay, appo another, the resultant, if this is satisfied means the resultant of a b c vectors another 0. If I take the resultant of the three vectors means what, it is going to be 0. okay va. So this is what is the concept of Lami's theorem. okay, so இதெல்லாம் என்ன தெரியுமா, all these are the vector simplification or vector symmetry principles. If you are remembering these things means problem solve பண்ணும்போது it might be of use to us. okay va. Next Coulomb's law la we'll look at some of the additional points. Additional points என்ன தெரியுமா, some of the things that we have not covered so far and some things which we will see later, like we will not study about them in detail now, but we will see about them as we go into the further topics. okay, so என்ன தெரியுமா, Coulomb's law is giving us what, the force of attraction or repulsion value between 2 point charges. அதுதானா. So what is the Coulomb's law concept, it is able to give us, பாருங்க, there are two charges q1 and q2 வெச்சுக்கோங்க, separated by distance r. As per the Coulomb's law, what we are able to say, the force of attraction ஆகட்டும் or repulsion between the two charges is given by what, k into modulus of q1 into modulus of q2 divided by r square. அதுதான Coulomb's law expression, இதுதான Coulomb's law expression. okay, but if you want to find force between a point and an extended, so if you want to find the force between, so point mass கிடையாது, we can write as what, point charge. okay, so if you are having point mass anu சொல்லலாம், ஏன்னா because we are looking at a point object. okay, so force between a point charge and extended charge, என்னது, force between a point charge and extended charge. Normally நம்ம என்ன பார்த்திருக்கோம், we will look at only the Coulomb's law in the case of the point charge, but if you have one side is a point charge and second side is what, extended charge. அப்படி இருந்தா then what will be the way in which we can find the force? இதை பத்தி நம்ம இப்போ டீடைலா டிஸ்கஸ் பண்றது கிடையாது. I just want to give you that idea எப்படி நம்ம அப்ரோச் பண்ண போறோம்னு சொல்லிட்டு. These kind of questions, right, has to be solved by using the integration approach. Okay, either you have to solve them by using what? Integration approach. Illana we'll have Gauss law. Okay, so Gauss law lende we'll get the result for electric field. Adala nama artha step la paaka porom. Okay, so Gauss law lende we'll get what? Result for electric field. Based on this also we can solve. So either we have to use the integration approach, illana we have to go for what? The results coming from the Gauss law, and the results based panni we can solve. So I'll just tell you what is this integration approach and paakalam. I'm not going to detail the procedure. Okay, idu paarenga. So let's say this is a charge q1 enchukonga. அந்த பக்கம் there is a charge q2 which is an extended one. Okay வா, அது பாயிண்ட் சார்ஜ் கிடையாது, extended charge. அப்ப நாம என்ன பண்ண தெரியுமா? In the q2 we should divide this into small parts. You know how many parts we have to divide? We have to divide this into infinite number of small parts. Each small part we will assume charge to be what? Very small value dq. Okay va, ipo parunga, because of one small part dq we will try to find what is the force acting on the q1. Adu enna theriyuma? We will call it as df nu vechukonga. We will find what is the force acting on q1 because of a small part of the charge q2. Adu enna df. We want to find force because of each of these small parts. Adu nama mathematics, so like you cannot do it just like that. We have to use the integration approach. So in the force expression varu theriyuma, adu nama enna panna porom? We are going to integrate it. Okay, so integration panna we are going to get what is the force acting on q1 appadida varum. So if you have one side point charge, second side another, second side we are having the second side, what are we having? We are having the extended charge. அந்த மாதிரி problems நம்ம எப்படி சால்வ் பண்றது? We have to take small parts of that second charge எடுத்துட்டு we have to find that very small amount of force, and the force ஓட வேல்யூ அப்படியே நம்ம இன்டிகிரேட் பண்ணனும். Okay, so we'll probably see some questions on that, but இப்போதைக்கு என்ன தெரியுமா? We'll just keep the idea. அடுத்தது என்ன பாருங்க, if you want to find the force between two extended என்னது, we want to find the force between two extended if you want to find the force between two extended charges. So paranga, if you have one extended charge here, another extended charge, it can be having any shape, right? Then the q1 vechukonga, then the q2. Here it is going to be even more complicated. Eppadi theriyuma? You have to take a small part of this charge, then the dq1 nu sollalam, and you have to break this also into small parts. Okay, actually neat la indha madri questions namakku vara poradhu kedaiyadu. We are not going to get the questions, but we just need to have an idea, right? Eppadi nu sollitte, so eppadi theriyuma? In the small part nam eduthirkom dq1 nu sollitte, you take a small part of the second charge, we'll find what is the force. Okay, and the madri you have to find force acting on this small part because of each and every small portion. Okay va, adella nam integrate panna enna varum? We'll get what is the force acting on this small portion of the charge q1. And the madri nama oru part eduthittu we have to integrate. So we have to add the force on every part of the q1 charge. This is going to be even more konjam difficult and complicated, but I just wanted to give the idea. Yeah theriyuma? It's not like நம்ம அந்த Coulomb's law ரெண்டு பாயிண்ட் சார்ஜ் நடுவுல how are you finding the force between the 2 point charges? By just simply using that formula. But we'll always have a doubt, right? Normally பாத்தீங்கன்னா we'll have the charge is what? Extended. So extended charge என்னது? Normal object you take is what? Extended தானா? It will occupy some volume. extended and sonna enadi the object that occupies volume is what we are calling as extended. Okay va? Then அந்த மாதிரி சிச்சுவேஷன்ல நம்ம என்ன பண்ண போறோம், we have to use that integration approach நான் சொன்ன மாதிரி. பட் இதெல்லாம் நமக்கு தேவையில்லை. So in NEET level we don't have to worry about all these in the integration. அதெல்லாம் நமக்கு we are not going to be bothering about it. But just you need to have the idea எப்படி அந்த second level of இது வருதுன்னு சொல்லிட்டு, so that you will be not confused. Okay. And இந்த இதுல என்ன தெரியுமா, we will be solving some problems. It is not like நம்ம அந்த extended charge அந்த ப்ராப்ளம்ஸே நம்ம சால்வ் பண்ண போறது அப்படி இல்லை. we are going to solve some problems by using Gauss law ஓட outcomes. so நம்ம அந்த படிக்க போறோம். we are going to talk about the Gauss law. based on the Gauss law outcomes, right, we are going to solve some problems. We are going to solve some problems where we will be finding out what is the forces acting between these large charge objects. If you are not comfortable calling extended charge anna, what you can call it as large anna, don't think of the value. Large charge anna, think of the space. Normally நம்ம என்ன சொல்லிருக்கோம், point charge. ரெண்டாவது என்ன, extended charge. If you don't want to use the word extended, you can use that as what, large charge. Okay va? So this is the approach, but we don't have to learn about this approach. இதெல்லாம் நமக்கு தேவையில்லை. Okay, so we just need to have an idea that okay இப்படிதான் இது வரும்னு சொல்லிட்டு. But for the extended charges we are going to solve some problems based on the Gauss law oda outcomes. It is going to be easy for us. Okay, அடுத்தது என்ன தெரியுமா, Coulomb's law in the vector form. I think in one of the, not in the NEET examination but in one of the medical examination, not sure, AFMC நினைக்கிறேன். Okay, adula we got a straight question. Just they have asked which of these expressions will represent Coulomb's law in the vector form. All that. So if you are knowing this formula means just you will be able to get the marks for that. So like that also we have chances of getting questions. It's not like every time you have to have numerical questions appadi kadiyadu. Sometimes we can also get questions straight on the formula basis also. Like ninga 2020 la pathina, like we have a question where they have asked what is the mean free path. In 2020 NEET examination they have asked what the mean free path in the +1 syllabus, right, kinetic theory of gases chapter la they have asked mean free path. Then the straight formula inside textbook la we'll have a formula for the lambda. We'll use lambda symbol for what, mean free path. Appadiye if you are able to remember the formula means +4, illana you will not be able to get the mark. Okay, so adha madiri enadi Coulomb's law in the vector form. Enadi Coulomb's law in the vector form. Just we are going to get a formula idhula inda avladha. Okay, eppadi varudhanu paarenga. Normally what we have from the Coulomb's law, we have the force oda magnitude theriyum namakku. Enadi, if you have a charge q1 and there is a charge q2, paarenga, these are all what, point charges. Force acting on charge q2 or charge q1, both the forces will be what, same magnitude dana. What is it, that force magnitude is given by what, k into modulus of q1 into modulus of q2 by r square. இதுதான் நமக்கு தெரியும் Coulomb's law formula for the force magnitude. இங்க என்ன தெரியுமா, we are going to give the Coulomb's law in the vector form. So look at this, you want to find force acting on the second charge. In the charge மேல we are trying to find the force acting on second charge because of the first. அதுக்கு என்ன தெரியுமா, we will write it like this, f2, 1. இது என்னது, force acting on 2 or q2 due to q1. f bar 2, 1 என்னது, force acting on q2 due to q1. So here you have to give the Coulomb's law in the vector form. Vector form என்னது, we should express the force like a vector. But idhula oru issue irukka. When you want to express it like a vector means what, we have to express the direction also, and the vector or the direction also we should express. Inga enna theriyuma, if you look at two charge locations, we have only one vector that we can use here. Another position vector. If you have two locations, right, we have only one vector here. What is it, position vector. Okay, so let us say the r2, 1 is what, position vector. What is r2 comma 1? Position vector of q2 with respect to q1. Means and the q1 lande you draw a vector reaching to q2. Adha nama enna solluvom? Position vector of the q2 charge with respect to q1. Okay va? Idoda modulus enna theriyuma? What is the modulus of this? This is the distance between the two charges. Enadhu? The modulus of that position vector is what? Distance between the two charges. Okay va? Ipo parunga, I am going to write the Coulomb's law in the vector form. K into q1 into q2. Idhula modulus varadu. In this we are not going to get the modulus. Okay va? K into q1 into q2 divided by r2 comma 1 modulus square. Denominator enna varudhu? Distance square dana. Distance between the two charges, adoda square value. Idella enna theriyuma? This is all a number. K is a number scalar, q1 is a number scalar, q2 is also a number. Modulus and sonna, that is also a number, right? But we have to express the force like a vector. So enna theriyuma? We have to multiply this with r cap 2 comma 1. R cap and sonna, it is a unit vector. It is a unit vector in the r bar direction. It's a unit vector in the r bar direction. Okay va? Unit vector and sonna enna theriyuma? Its magnitude will be what? 1. Unit vector and sonna, what is it? Magnitude will be what? 1. Okay va? So inga parunga, if first neenga note panikonga, just note down this Coulomb's law in the vector form. Adukapram we will check how this will be satisfied. Eppadi in the value, that expression we are writing, right? It will satisfy our understanding. It will satisfy our understanding of the force. Okay. So ipo parunga, if q1 and q2 are like charges, another first condition, q1 and q2 are like charges. Like charges, they will be of same type. Then q2 will be what? Repelled by q1. Dana q2 will be repelled by q1. Inga parunga, q1 and q2 are of same nature means what? q1 is positive, q2 is positive. Product will be what? Positive. And the madri q1 is negative and q2 is negative means what? Upon product will be negative. So in both the cases, k already positive. In the full term pathina, it will be what? Positive. When you look at the multiplying term will be what? Positive. Which means what? If q1 and q2 are of same nature, then that force acting on the second charge, right, q2, will be in the same direction as on the unit vector of direction. What is the unit vector? In the pakadana. This is what is the unit vector direction. So if the charges are like q1 and q2 are like charges, then the force will be having the same direction as what? The unit vector. Okay va? Because it is what? It is the repulsive force. If q1 and q2 are of opposite nature, same nature, let us assume that q1 and q2 are what? Opposite nature. Okay va? Appa enna agum? The q1 and q2 will be attracting each other. Means q2 is going to be attracted by q1. q2 will be what? It will be attracted by q1. Paranga. So q2 in the bakkar force. q2 will be attracted by q1. This is r cap or direction. R cap 2 comma. Inga paranga, if q1 and q2, is that my second case. If q1 and q2 are opposite nature, if q1 and q2 opposite means plus minus, multiply panna overall will get what? Minus dana. So paranga, and the force or the direction will be what? Negative of r cap. Means r cap is towards the right side inga. So force will be in which direction? Towards the left side. That means what? q2 is going to be attracted by q1. q2 is going to be attracted by what? q1. Okay va? So paranga, what is the Coulomb's law in the vector form? What is the Coulomb's law in the vector form? Force acting on the second charge because of first charge is equal to what? K into q1 into q2 இதில் modulus வராது k into q1 into q2 divide by modulus of r bar 2 comma 1 whole square, that is the distance square value அப்படியே வரும் distance square ஓகேவா into what is the coming r cap 2 comma 1 into என்ன வருது into r cap 2 comma 1 okay. நீங்க ஆல்ரெடி வெக்டர் பிரின்சிபல்ஸ்ல பாத்தீங்கன்னா you will have one more concept என்ன தெரியுமா what is r cap என்னது any vector if you divide that vector by the vector oda magnitude, any vector say for example you know a bar ஒரு vector வெச்சுக்கோங்க, if you divide a bar by the a value, a என்னது அந்த vector a bar oda magnitude divide பண்ணா we are going to get a cap என்ன வரும் we are going to get a cap ஓகேவா. so இத நம்ம என்ன சொல்லுவோம் unit vector, what do we call it as unit vector okay. so இப்போ அந்த மாதிரி r cap 2 comma 1 அது எப்படி வரும் r bar 2 comma 1 divided by அதோட modulus அவ்வளவுதானா r bar 2 comma 1 divided by the modulus. இப்போ பாருங்க I will write one more form in the same expression can be written in the other way also என்ன தெரியுமா k into q1 into q2 divided by modulus of square the r cap க்கு பதிலா நான் என்ன எழுத போறேன் பாருங்க r bar 2 comma 1 divided by modulus of இது என்னது denominator already நமக்கு ஒரு modulus of r bar 2 comma 1 square இருக்கா இங்க வந்து modulus of r bar 2 comma 1 வருது totally what is it going to be, this is the final expression I am writing it here பாருங்க what is it k into q1 q2 r bar 2 comma 1 வரும் divided by modulus of r bar 2 comma 1 whole cube. so either நம்ம இந்த இது நாம வெச்சுக்கலாம் இல்லனா this one, both will be telling us the Coulomb's law in the vector form okay. see we have to remember this result okay. so either நீங்க அந்த concept புரிஞ்சுக்கணும் இல்லனா at least you should remember the result. so if at all there is a question straight coming on this formula right we will be able to get correct marks for that okay va. so then this is the Coulomb's law in the vector form. see some of these important formulae and all these things right adala nama correct ah paakanum so that you know we will not be missing out on any questions, direct questions okay. so this is what is the Coulomb's law in the vector form. At the concept in electric field, this is the very important topic. so in fact in chapter name pathina what is it we are saying electric forces or electrostatic forces and field okay va. so then this is the concept of the electric field. before and the electric field பத்தி discuss பண்றதுக்கு முன்னாடி we will look at the idea of the field theory. என்னது the idea of the field theory okay. field theory என்ன தெரியுமா like these fundamental forces, gravitational force ஆகட்டும் or electrostatic force or the magnetic force and even some of the other forces, they are actually called as field forces என்ன சொல்லுவோம் we call them as what field forces. எதுக்கு தெரியுமா they operate through a field எப்படி they will not be because of the direct particle to particle interactions adil irukadu. they will not be having direct particle to particle interactions. all these forces, the gravitational force agatum or electrostatic force or magnetic force idilena they will not be having particle to particle interactions. Eppadi how people were able to find it out, they were doing a lot of experiments. so it is not like generally they said that there is a field theory or something like that. they were doing a lot of experiments based on which they have come to the idea of the concept of field. so adhukku I will just give you one very simple example. inga parunga, let us say we have two charges and vechukonga, there is a charge q1 and there is a charge q2 which are separated by a distance r okay va. then what is the force acting on the charge q2 and the force oda value enna k into modulus of q1 into modulus of q2 by r square dana. this is the force. ipo enna theriyuma when they were doing the experiments ipdi they were able to get to the conclusion இப்போ பாருங்க t is equal to 0 la if q1 is removed, carefully பாருங்க. so t is equal to 0 la starting time லே நம்ம என்ன பண்றோம், we are removing the q1. அப்படியே ரிமூவ் பண்ணா நம்மளோட எக்ஸ்பெக்டேஷன் என்ன இருக்கும், இந்த பக்கம் சார்ஜே இல்லைன்னா force acting on the charge q2 should become 0 தானா. எக்ஸ்பெக்டேஷன் என்ன, q1 நம்ம ரிமூவ் பண்ணதுக்கு அப்புறம் what should happen, the force acting on q2, okay, force acting on q2 must become 0 at t is equal to 0. அந்த இடத்துலயே it should become 0 because நம்ம எப்போ அந்த q1 ரிமூவ் பண்ணிருக்கோம் தெரியுமா, at that instant itself the force acting on the q2 must be 0. but experimentally அவங்கள observe பண்ணும்போது it didn't happen. what is observed, you know, the observed என்ன தெரியுமா, the force acting on the charge 2 is becoming 0 எப்போ, force acting on q2 is becoming 0 at t is equal to r by c. எப்போ at t is equal to r by c, not at t is equal to 0. t is equal to 0 கிடையாது. when it is becoming 0, t is equal to r by c. இதுல c என்ன தெரியுமா, c is speed of light. c என்னது, speed of light. okay, so first of all people were not able to understand ஏன் இப்படி ஆகுதுன்னு சொல்லிட்டு. ஏன்னா பாருங்க அந்த இடத்துல we have removed the charge, remove பண்ணா டக்குன்னு force experienced by the q2 should become 0, right? அப்படி ஆகல, it didn't happen like that. so they were having doubts why it is happening. then you know the concept of field theory is proposed. அது என்ன தெரியுமா, field theory is like this. so இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு observation explain பண்றதுக்கு தான் they have proposed that field theory. field theory concept என்னன்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா, it says that அந்த two charges directly interact பண்ணது கிடையாது. no two charges are going to directly, இப்போ நம்ம face to face பேசுற மாதிரி they will not interact directly. every charge will develop something called as electric field around it. இப்போ நீங்க ஒரு இடத்துல சார்ஜ் போட்டு வச்சுக்கோங்க, it will develop something called as electric field. electric field என்னன்னு சொல்லிட்டு we will be able to understand as we go into the discussion. இங்க பாருங்க, if we are keeping a charge q1 னு வெச்சுக்கோங்க, we are keeping a charge q1, you know what the charge q1 is going to do, it is going to generate or develop something called as electric field. it is going to develop something called as what, electric field. the q1 is going to develop something called as what, electric field. okay va, now this electric field which is generated by q1, அதுக்கு நம்ம என்ன ஒரு e is symbol for the electric field. கொஞ்ச நேரம் கழிச்சு we look at the properties of the electric field also. electric field என்ன தெரியுமா, actually it's a vector quantity. okay, அதனால I'll even keep bar. so the electric field that is generated by the charge 1, it will be interacting with the q2. charge 1 direct and the charge 2 got interaction கிடையாது. the electric field that is developed by the charge 1 is going to interact. the electric field developed by the charge 1 is going to interact with the charge 2. okay va, so no interaction, no direct interaction between the charges. the field will be interacting with the charge. okay, so இப்ப பாருங்க at t is equal to 0, இந்த இடத்துல நம்ம சார்ஜ் ரிமூவ் பண்ணிருக்கோம். t is equal to 0 ல we have removed the q1, but அப்போவே we are not seeing a force becoming 0. force is not becoming 0 at t is equal to 0, right? எப்போ when force is becoming 0, force is becoming 0 at t is equal to எப்போ r by c. எதுக்கு தெரியுமா, the field is changing. so இப்போ நம்ம இங்க q1 remove பண்ணா what is going to happen, the field developed by the q1 is changing. எப்படி, it will be changing at a rate which will be propagating at a speed of light. எந்த ரேட்ல இது ப்ராபகேட் ஆகும்? at a rate which is equal to speed of light. So இப்போ நம்ம அந்த q1 remove பண்ணா field in that entire space, அந்த எல்லா ஸ்பேஸ்ல the field should change, right? How that change is going to propagate? It is going to propagate at a speed which is equal to speed of light. அதனால என்ன தெரியுமா, நம்ம ஆல்ரெடி இங்க சார்ஜ் ரிமூவ் பண்ணிருக்கோம் t is equal to 0ல, but it takes how much time for the change to propagate till here? Distance எவ்வளவு r தானா? Propagation is happening at what speed? Speed of light. So அப்ப எவ்வளவு டைம் எடுக்கும் அதுக்கு? It will take a time which is equal to what? R by c. So t is equal to 0ல அங்க நம்ம சார்ஜ் சேஞ்ச் பண்ணிருக்கோம், but the field change has to take time. And how it will propagate? It will propagate at a speed which is equal to speed of light. அதனால the change is appearing on charge q2 at what time? At a time which is equal to R by c. ஓகேவா? So இதுதான் அந்த field theory or field concept. So every charge will develop electric field around it. Every charge will develop electric field around it. ஓகேவா? electric field என்னது? It's a vector quantity. Now இப்போ இங்கே பாருங்க, q1 is developing electric field வெச்சுக்கோங்க. அந்த ஸ்பேஸ்ல நம்ம q2 எடுத்துட்டு வந்திருக்கோம். We have kept the q2. Now the q2 will interact with this electric field, and this is going to be the result of the force. So what is the reason for the force? The interaction between the electric field and charge is the reason for force. இங்க பாருங்க, so if ஒரு இடத்துல let's say the electric field is what? E bar னு வெச்சுக்கோங்க. என்னது? electric field value என்ன? E bar. How this electric field is coming? Because of the surrounding charges. அது என்ன நமக்கு இப்போ will not worry about it now. Surrounding ஏதாவது charges தான் வெச்சுக்கோங்க. Surrounding charges will create this electric field. ஓகேவா? And we are bringing a charge q into the place. அந்த இடத்துக்கு we are bringing a charge q. Okay. Now this charge q will interact with the field at the place. Field value என்ன? E. So interaction is like this. Force acting on the charge, பாருங்க, force acting on the charge will be equal to charge times electric field at the location. எந்த இடத்துல நம்ம அந்த charge place பண்ணிருக்கோம் அந்த இடத்துல let's say the electric field is what? E bar. எப்படி இந்த electric field வருது? It is coming due to the surrounding charges. அந்த location surroundingல there are charges, right? அது என்னன்னு சொல்லிட்டு we should be given. Surroundingல there are some charges னு வெச்சுக்கோங்க. The surrounding charges will develop the electric field. You are bringing some external or third party, ஏதாவது சொல்லலாம், we can say external or third party like that, charge q into that place. Okay, அப்போ the force experienced by the charge q will be equal to what? The charge q times electric field at the location. Okay வா? இதுதான் interaction between the charge and field. So if you are bringing a charge to the location means on the location la, if the electric field value is E bar, then how much will be the force experienced by the charge? The force experienced by the charge is equal to what? Q into the E bar. Force experienced by the charge is equal to what? Q into E bar. Okay. So இதிலிருந்து we can have some interesting analysis. என்ன தெரியுமா? பாருங்க, here நான் சொன்ன மாதிரி already electric field is what? Electric field is a vector. Electric field is a vector. Okay. So இப்போ என்ன தெரியுமா? If q is positive வெச்சுக்கோங்க. Q is positive means what? பாருங்க, q it can take any value. ஒரு ஏதாவது will just take some sample value. ஒரு +2 coulombs எடுத்துக்கோங்க. Then force is equal to what? +2 coulombs into E bar. Careful observe பண்ணுங்க. The force is equal to some positive number into electric field. அதுல இருந்து நமக்கு என்ன தெரியும்? The force and E bar will be என்னது? In same direction. Means என்ன தெரியுமா? The positive charges, இதுல q நம்ம என்ன assume பண்ணிருக்கோம்? We took it as what? Positive. Positive charges experience force in the direction of electric field. So it's an important statement. Positive charges experience force in the direction of electric field. Okay வா? அந்த மாதிரி இன்னொரு பாசிபிலிட்டி இருக்கு. என்னது? The charge can be negative also, right? Charge positive இருக்கலாம், இல்லனா charge can be negative. Charge negative இருந்தா என்ன? What is going to happen? பாருங்க, if you take charge to be negative, அதுக்கும் we'll take some small value. Okay, so we'll take some sample value. So charge is negative, so let us say q is equal to minus 2 coulombs னு எடுத்துக்கோங்க. Then what will be the force value is equal to what? Minus 2 coulombs into E bar. இங்க பாருங்க, force is equal to some negative number into electric field, means what? The force vector and electric field vector will be what? F bar and E bar என்னது will be in opposite directions. என்ன தெரியுமா? What it means? The negative charges will experience force in the direction la, will experience force in a direction opposite to the field. எதுக்கு opposite la? The positive charges will experience a force in the direction of the electric field. Negative charges will experience a force in a direction opposite to electric field. இதில் என்ன தெரியுமா? If say for example there are electrons, how electrons will move? Because electrons are negative charges. If the electric field is towards right side வெச்சுக்கோங்க, if the electric field is towards the right side, அப்ப என்ன ஆகும்? The force acting on the electrons will be towards the left side. எதனால? Because the force acting on negative charge will be exactly opposite to the field. If you are having positive charges like protons, they will experience a force exactly in the same direction as the electric field. Okay va? So this is an important result. அதுக்கப்புறம் என்ன தெரியுமா? We will look at what is the SI unit and dimensional formula. ஏன்னா ஆல்ரெடி நம்ம சொல்லியிருக்கோம், whenever we get a new physical quantity or a term or a constant, we should be looking at on the term oda or constant or physical quantity oda what is the SI unit and what is the dimensional formula. இங்க பாருங்க, if you want to know what is the SI unit, left side la irka force dana, which means Newton, is equal to right side la charge oda SI unit enna coulombs into in the electric field oda SI unit பாருங்க, Newton per coulomb. என்னது? electric field SI unit என்ன? Newton per coulomb. ஓகேவா? அந்த மாதிரி we can also try to find the dimensional formula. நீங்க செக் பண்ணி பாருங்க, what is the dimensional formula for the electric field? So what is the dimensional formula for the electric field? என்ன தெரியுமா? Whenever we have the dimensional formula questions, we should pick the easiest formula. நிறைய formulas இருக்கும் electric field ன்னு சொன்னா, like when we go into the further discussion, right, அதுல நிறைய formulas வரும். But நாம என்ன பண்ணணும்? We should pick up what is the easiest formula. அந்த இருக்கிறதுல what is the easiest formula, and then அதுல இருந்து we should be able to quickly get the dimensional formula. பாருங்க, இதுல என்ன? F means what? Dimensional formula force என்னது? ml t power minus 2 தானா, is equal to Q. Charge means what? I into T, current into time, okay, into the dimensional formula for electric field. Okay va? So in the I into T அந்த பக்கம் எடுத்துட்டு போணும். So ml t power minus 2 divided by I into T. இதனது ml t power minus 3 I power minus 1. இதுதான் dimensional formula for electric field. Okay va? பாருங்க, so என்னது? ml t power minus 3 I power minus 5. So this is the dimensional formula for the electric field. Okay va? Sorry, we'll continue the discussion about the electric field in the next class. So just know, make sure that you try solving some problems on that application of that cumulative force concept. Okay va? So in next class we'll start with further discussion on the electric field concept.